Let us start the dictation. Start. Srimati Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, Sri Hamid Ansari, Srimati Meera Kumar, Sri Justice S. H. Kapadia, Members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, friends and fellow citizens. I am deeply moved by the high honor you have accorded to me. Such honor exalts the occupant of this office, even as it demands that he rises above personal or partisan interests in the service of the national good. The principal responsibility of this office is to function as the guardian of our Constitution. I will strive, as I said on oath, to preserve, protect, and defend our Constitution not just in word but also in spirit. We are all across the divide of party and region, partners at the altar of our motherland. Our federal constitution embodies the idea of modern India. It defines not only India but also modernity. A modern nation is built on some basic fundamentals: democracy or equal rights for every citizen, secularism or equal freedom to every faith, equality of every religion, region, language, gender equality, and perhaps most important of all, economic equality. For our development to be real, the poorest of our land must feel that they are part of the narrative of rising India. I have seen vast, perhaps unbelievable changes during the journey that has brought me from the flicker of a lamp in a small Bengal village to the chandeliers of Delhi. I was a boy when Bengal was savaged by a famine that killed millions. The misery and sorrow is still not lost on me. We have achieved much in the field of agriculture, industry, and social infrastructure, but that is nothing compared to what India, led by the coming generations, will create in the decades ahead. Our national mission must continue to be what it was when the generation of Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Rajendra Prasad, Ambedkar, and Maulana Azad offered us a tryst with density to eliminate the curse of poverty and create such opportunities for the young that they can take our India forward by quantum leaps. There is no humiliation more abusive than hunger. Trickle down theories do not address the legitimate aspirations of the poor. We must lift those at the bottom so that poverty is erased from the dictionary of modern India. What was brought us thus far will take us further ahead. India's true story is the partnership of its people. Our wealth has been created by farmers and workers, industrialists and service providers, soldiers and civilians. Our social harmony is the sublime coexistence of temple, mosque, church, gurdwara, and synagogue. They are symbols of our unity in diversity. People, peace is the first ingredient of prosperity. History has often been written in the red of blood, but development and progress are the luminous rewards of a peace dividend, not a war trophy. The two halves of the 20th century tell their own story. Europe and indeed the world reinvented itself after the end of the Second World War and the collapse of colonization, leading to the rise of great institutions like the United Nations, leaders who ordered great armies into the field and then understood that war was more barbarism than glory. Mr. Chairman, sir, first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to all the honorable members who have participated in the debate on the finance bill and made their observations. Many valuable suggestions have emerged from their observations. The debate was initiated by Honorable Yashwant Sinha, who was the distinction of presenting a very large number of budgets as Finance Minister of the Union Government. Normally, there is a saying in the Finance Ministry: the rate of mortality in parliamentary politics is very high, but particularly in the Ministry of Finance, the rate of mortality is much more high, because of which you might have noticed a very interesting factor that from 1947 to 1984, no finance minister mentioned his name in the budget, including me. For the first time, the name of the finance minister was printed in the budget speech from 1985 when Sri Vishwanath Pratap Singh succeeded. In that context, Sri Yashwant Sinha is one of the unique exceptions, like Sri C. D. Deshmukh or Dr. Manmohan Singh, or my colleague Sri P. Chidambaram, who had the distinction of presenting full budgets for 5 years consecutively, and even before that, one interim budget. He has, in his long observations, made many important points, but I am encouraged by particularly the peroration part of his speech when he said that Indian growth story cannot come to an end, and he pointed out that the Indian economy should revive and must revive. I also appreciate when he said that when things get touch, only the touch gets going. I would like only to add that in the days of coalition era, the tough can get going and the tough should get going together. We shall have to go together to improve the situation, to improve the financial condition and bring back the economy on its track and explore the full potential which it has.